All right, guys, welcome to episode 5. If you didn't check out the last episode when Everett talked about um, his journey in terms of taking care of his grandpa, check that out. People really enjoyed that. But today, I figured we would interview a woman, and that would be my wife, because I'm so sick and tired of people asking me, so how did you guys meet? From now on, I'm just going to direct people to the podcast. And women are a sucker for love stories. So I figure also because it's me and my wife's 11th anniversary in a few days from now, September 22nd. We got married in September 22nd, 2012. It'll be our 11th anniversary. It would be a good time that we can reflect and look back and share about how we met and how we started dating. So we are here today with my wife, Robin, and Robin's wife. Robin's wife is here to practice English, so don't mind her, but she could chime in as well. But Robin and I will be more the moderators, and I'd love to hear from Miggy what her thoughts of when it comes to how we met and how we got our past and all the way up until we started dating. So I don't know, Robin, you have any thoughts or before we get started?
No, let's just get started.
All right, honey. How do we meet? Tell us what you remember from me. Oh, you go way back as you possibly want to go. Anything.
I thought that the first time we met was when he started dating my neighbor, who was kind of like a sister to me. Yeah, when he started dating, we don't want to name names.
Again, it's fine. My podcast is not popular. Cindy.
Okay. I'll just keep it. Oh, I'm sorry.
Cindy Ling. Gotcha. I love you.
She was my neighbor at Gibson Plaza.
Yeah.
And
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, she was like, I got a boyfriend. Want to see a picture of him? Isn't he cute? And I was like, no, but okay.
All right. That's good to know.
Was this before you and I, before I took you to Chinese Community Church?
All right. So,
Did you start dating
sorry guys. Let me just give background. I am a loser. I don't have very many friends. Rob and I went to all boys school, so you know what that means, right? Desperate. And so I didn't know very many girls. And this is in the spring of 2003. I met Cindy at a friend's house named Try, and we hit it off. So I think a little bit after when I saw you at church. So spring of 2003. Yeah, go ahead, honey.
Okay, so actually, I saw a picture of him. I didn't actually meet him. That's where I left off at. But basically, this girl that I knew who was related to Garrett, her name was Dina. She goes, hey, I have someone who wants to buy stuff from you, because I was selling like character stuff back then.
What is that called? It's called
Puka.
No, but the whole genre. What's that thing?
I called it
Sanrio.
It wasn't Sanrio.
Okay.
It was like Korean. I called it Korean anime stuff.
Okay, cool.
And so he was trying to buy something for Cindy.
I spent $20.
Dina messaged me on AIM, AOL Instant Messenger. And she goes, yeah, I can't. He wants to buy some stuff from you for his girlfriend. And I started sending him stuff. And then I also found out that it was Cindy's boyfriend who was trying to buy stuff. So that was interesting.
So you gave me a discount?
I don't remember.
All right, cool. I'm kidding. It was $20 though, I remember. And I picked it up at Calvary Baptist Church.
And I think that was the first time I saw him in person.
Mm-hmm.
But it was interesting because like I saw him in person, but I felt like I had seen him before. Yeah. And it turns out that the first time I actually saw him was when I was much younger, when I was a little kid, actually.
Because my dad was a dentist.
Mm-hmm. His dad was a dentist, and we used to go to his dad whenever we had to like get our teeth checked out for school or whatever. All the Chinese kids, all the Chinatown kids would go to his dad. And I remember going to his dad's office, and he was coming down the stairs with his mom to get his bike to go biking with somebody, and everybody was like, oh, that's the dentist's kid. And I was just like, oh,
gotcha, golden child.
Nah. Like,
the last emperor. Mm-hmm.
What did I care? I'm just like, oh, that's the dentist's kid.
I know, I'm kidding. All right. So what do you remember? Feel free to ask your own question, but what do you remember what were your first impressions when Cindy said, "I found a boyfriend. He's really good looking," and you said, "No, he's not." Well, after that, was there any other impressions?
I mean, I didn't really like interact with you or whatever. I guess the only time that I really started to develop a stronger impression of you is when she told me that you were being mean to her or something. Something along the lines like you guys got in a fight or something.
Yeah, I know. It happens. I do that to women.
And then she started telling me, I was like, so what happened? And she started telling me different things, and I was like, oh, he's a bad boyfriend.
Mm-hmm. That's so. The moral story is girls gang up on guys. Let me rewind. I'm just kidding. I remember the first time I saw me. This is ridiculous. So Cindy came over, and they had a video yearbook for School Without Walls. And I saw this girl. I was like, yo, she's cute. She goes, that's my friend. I said, oh, okay. It was M.E.A.T. I thought she was cute.
Huh.
So that's the first time I saw her. Yeah, she must have stood out because I didn't say other girls were cute. So I guess I'm lucky. All right, go ahead, honey.
Well, I mean,
By the way, I did that. It was purely, it was purely professional. I just noticing objectively she was cute. I wasn't trying to date.
It's an objective observation.
I was not trying to
All
date Cindy to jump boat later to M.E.A.T. So yes,
I had a boyfriend then, so
it
didn't matter
It
anyway.
didn't matter to me either.
Well, the journey was gonna be for a while though. This is gonna be years later.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding. Yeah. So, anyways, anything else, honey?
But I think when I really started to get to know you was when we started working at SEP. And my table, so the way SEP is set up is like you have a bunch of tables in this big fellowship
Why
hall.
don't you explain what SCP is for people who don't?
SEP is Summer Enrichment Program that was sponsored by CCC, ran by Juanita Chan, who is former DCPS school teacher, ESL teacher. So she started the Summer Enrichment Program kind of to help the DCPS kids out with like enrichment and getting ahead in school and stuff like that.
So basically, like summer school for the Chinese kids.
Kind of, yeah. And then, yeah, basically.
Uh-huh.
But it was also like a way for us to also get exposed to church and the Bible and stuff like that.
We had 3 classes: English, math, and religion. Robin, you remember that time?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's one of the best times of my life.
I love it. It was the first time I had friends. It was good. It was nice. It was wonderful.
Yeah, but the way, so it's a big fellowship hall. They use these huge chalkboards to separate between tables and classes, I guess, where you have a teenager working with kids who are younger than them, who are, someone who's in high school, middle school, or college working with kids who are like in elementary school or something. And Garrett's table was next to my table, so he would talk to me sometimes.
Yeah, I'm a social person and a bad teacher.
I found him I found him quite annoying, but
Good thing that ended. Go ahead. Any other thoughts, from that time?
I do remember you were pretty obnoxious. Like there was one time I came to work and I was a little dressed up because I was going to see my boyfriend afterwards.
Okay.
And you kept looking at me and then looking at your friend and then touching yourself.
This really makes me look good. I appreciate the authenticity of this discussion.
Yeah, like you were just like
touching myself. Please, can we clarify? It's not the groin.
No, you were like touching your like chest and your arms. You were like caressing
I'm being
yourself.
silly. I'm being silly.
He was like, look. He would look over at me and then look at his friend and be like do some like really awkward gestures of touching himself and caressing himself.
Robin's wife is really trying hard not to laugh. So
I found him quite obnoxious.
I guess the word is humps up.
Yeah.
Humps up, which means pervert in Chinese. Sorry.
Yeah. So like he was kind of obnoxious. He's like, and I remember you like asking me like, why are you so dressed up today? And I was like, it's none of your business.
Robin, you remember this time? Were you checking her out too?
No, I was not. I never did.
That's right, because Robin's a good teacher. Robin's a good teacher.
Yeah, he asked me why was I dressed up.
See, the difference...
None of his business.
So, Hadassah, the difference between Robin and I is that Robin has never lusted in his life ever, and I have, because Robin is a man of God.
And you were dating Cindy then, right?
Very generous.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't.
You weren't dating Cindy then?
We broke up. Nice try.
Are you sure?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Do you
yeah,
remember
positive.
It was the same summer, but
I
do
know,
you remember when you broke
I
up?
know. Come on. I remember. Come on. It's my girlfriend. We were
Well,
tight,
when
like,
did you break up?
beginning of July, like within 1 week. Yeah, absolutely.
You mean like 1 week of SEP?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know. It was really early. And Ron was there to
Interesting.
comfort me.
I
'Cause
do
was
remember.
sad.
I remember that.
And you know what? You never seen a man like me cry that much, other than a funeral.
I was really confused because I remember when you guys broke up. It was very confusing because you broke up
getting
with
hot,
her. You guys went into the girls' bathroom at Mount Vernon Church.
Why do we go to girls' bathroom?
Yeah, why'd you go there?
I don't know why they went in there. They were in the girls.
I know why. We were doing cocaine. The upper from all this downing depression I was feeling needed. Guys, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
You were
honey.
in the girls' bathroom, and I know you broke up with her, but you came out crying, and I was so confused. Like, what?
Because I am a sensitive man and I cared for her. Even though we broke up, I'm still a caring person. And that's why I still dap her when I see her.
And I think that's why, like, that is actually what made us kind of became friends.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's how we became friends.
Gotcha. A friend of an enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah, because, like, what ended up happening was, well, in my story, a lot of things happened that night. But, like, I remember a couple days after you guys broke up, I came to SCP to work because that was our summer job at the time. And I was so pissed at you because I looked at you and I was like, it's your fault that I didn't sleep last night. And you were like, what do you mean? I'm the one who got called at 3 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning, got cursed out. I was like, you're lying. She made me sleep over at her place and she did not wake up and curse you out because I would have heard her.
Just to be very Christian, as I'm a Christian man, I believe in self-control. I wasn't Christian back then, but still believe. And she would say, "Garrett, shut the fuck up." And I'd be like, "Honey, could you not talk like that?" So she would blow at me quite often, and I don't usually curse at people. I curse, but not at people. So yes, she would call me a few times, like 3 a.m. I'm like, I might get a little moody.
Hey, I was moody.
Any thoughts, Robin? Or you're like, you're really sad for us to break up. Any thoughts?
That's a lot of drama that I was not aware of.
Hey, man. God bless you. If you don't understand.
I remember coming to work and being angry because it was like, I didn't get to sleep until like 1:30 in the morning because of you, because she kept on talking about you.
Now, I am a big deal.
And she begged me to come sleep over. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, my apartment's right there. Can't I just go home?
So Cindy and me both lived in Gibson Plaza, DC apartment building, which is, was it 8th and O? Something, was it 9th and 6th, 7th? Oh.
Yeah, 7th and O.
Okay. So continue, honey.
Yeah. And so I really didn't like Garrett at all. Thought he was a bad boyfriend when he was dating Cindy. He was a bigger jerk after they broke up. Like, why do I keep hearing about him? Why do I keep, like, why am I being dragged into this mess? It's like, okay, you broke up. It's over. Goodbye. But no, it's like, please, I feel so sad. Can you come over and stay over and talk to me? And, like, we had a group of friends, and all of us kind of got dragged into it.
I know what you're all thinking. What's the big deal? He ugly. Right? Why do you even care so much? He's obnoxious. I'm sure that's what you all were thinking.
I was like, this is why I wouldn't date a guy like Garrett. That's why my boyfriend's so much better than her boyfriend.
Hell yeah.
That's why I'm still with my boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And yeah.
The end.
All right. So where did it all start changing? That's I think where the story.
We're not even changing.
Huh?
Not yet.
We're not changing yet.
Still negative.
Huh?
All right, go ahead, honey. So I want to fast forward a little bit. So I think we did hang out. And always thank your brother Ryan. He had a little youth program called the Ryan program, and we would hang out as teenagers or early 20s at church. And I kind of did still see, probably that's kind of where May and I still hung out a little bit. And I remember, let's see, the next moment we went to college. So that was the summer of our senior year of high school. Went to college. And
Your senior year.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize.
I'm a year older than her.
My senior year. And so I remember touching base with her. I remember becoming really interested in Bible studies. And I love to share about the Bible. So May was not the only one, but I did talk to people about the Bible because I'm, very evangelical. And I remember calling May about, check out this book this book called Mere Christianity, when I talked to her about this thing called pride and sin. So I think that was one of the other times I reconnected with you. What do you remember about this moment?
I mean, so granted, I kind of opened the door to it because my parents had a restaurant, and when business was slow and I was bored, since we had 3 phone lines, I would just call people and just chat. And I must have called Garrett a couple of times, so we had each other's number. And when I was in college, he called me, and I'm like, why is Garrett calling me? And he started telling me about something he was reading about in Mere Christianity. I guess something about pride. And I remember walking like up and down the hallways, hoping he would get to the point. Why is he telling me about this book? And I was like, why are you calling me, telling me about this book and telling me about this? I was like, nobody gives an F about what you're reading. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I know. It's my favorite book. I still like it. I care about the book. And I make all the kids read it.
Oh, and now I know why he did that. It was because I was an extremely prideful person. I was not a Christian at the time. And Garrett wasn't like, I guess he wasn't a Christian, but he was seeking.
I was very, very much interested in this whole God thing. So we kind of still touched base a little bit. And then let's fast forward. I'm having a hard time focusing now because of the apologize the vodka that I'm drinking to stay calm. When did we overlap after that? I think
when I started dating your friend.
Oh, we don't have to go into that. Which one?
That's true. I did 2 of your friends.
All right, so let's okay. So what happened was that I remember May would have these get-togethers, and she would invite people over, and sometimes I would come over, and I remember at that time, I'm a very contentious and antagonistic. Do you understand what that means? Basically, a whole fan.
Hey man, I thought we weren't talking Canada.
I know, just for Hadassah. I'm very annoying.
Yeah.
And I remember I remember being an instigator and saying, let's talk about religion.
No. This is what happened.
Okay, go ahead. Share your side story.
I would invite different people over to my house to hang out in our basement, like Friday nights or Saturday nights. We would play mahjong, play different board games, play DDR, hang out, have a good time. And I knew there were all different types of all different walks of life coming to my place that night. So before everyone came over, I said, all right, just so you guys know, I don't want any religion talk in my house.
Robin, were you there that night? You were.
Maybe.
You were.
Really?
You were there. You know what? I remember, babe. No, he was. You know why? I actually slept over at Robin's house that night.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, we're connected. I remember May saying to me, so why don't you continue?
No, he wasn't there that night.
So I remember sleeping over your house.
Okay.
Sandy was there.
And
Pan was there.
And then she messaged me on AIM saying, you know what, F it. I'm gonna go to church. I'm gonna figure this stuff out. And I remember saying, Robin, oh my goodness, May's gonna go to church. I was kind of very.
But wait, you're jumping ahead. People don't know the context. So everybody came over, and of course, Garrett's not doing any of these. Not playing DDR. He's not playing mahjong. He's just sitting on the floor. He's like staring at everybody. Everyone's having a good time, and then he has to open his big mouth and ask some type of question. I can't remember what question it was for the life of me. Do you remember what question?
It's something about religion.
Obviously, I know it's about religion, but anyway, the atheist who was in the room jumped into the conversation. The Buddhists were too scared to talk, so they were quiet.
They should be. They're pacifists.
The other, I don't know if you call him passionate, but the fiery Christian jumped in the conversation.
Is that my friend Daniel?
Yeah, your friend Daniel, the one I was interested in and then dated it.
Oh, my bad. I guess our friend.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
And so...
Were you there, Robin?
I do not recall such a...
I remember the night.
Okay,
because we went to the University of Maryland, and there was some type of cultural festival event because Can was over there doing lion dance. Yeah. And then we were like, oh, what should we do afterwards? Oh, you guys want to come over to my place and hang out and play mahjong?
Yeah, I certainly wasn't there.
Robin wasn't there. Robin wasn't there that night.
He was praying to God like he does on most Friday nights.
Yeah.
Reading the Bible.
So anyway, after Garrett did that and the conversation got really I felt like the conversation heated up pretty quickly. I was pissed because of what Garrett did. He didn't follow the rules. And I called him that night after feeling very fiery because I didn't agree with different things that were said or whatever. I was like, all right, I'm going to church. Let's go to church. Take me to church. And Garrett was like, I don't know if I
told Daniel to take me to her church, and that's how
you told me to call Daniel instead.
That's right. Because you know why? I'm a Christian man.
You weren't a Christian then.
My bad. I'm kidding. I didn't want to get entangled in me stuff. You know, I didn't. You know, my point was I was not flirting with Mei at any point. You know, I was just being myself, which is basically obnoxious. So the whole idea of me talking to Mei about Christianity wasn't because I wanted to date her. It was just because I was excited about the faith. I mean, so I just want to let you know, like, I wasn't trying to get you to go to church so I could date you or hang out with you. No, I was excited about my faith. But go ahead, honey.
You did tell Daniel, don't ever date Mei.
I've said that before.
You said don't talk to her or whatever because talking to her, dating her is like playing with fire. Don't do it, Daniel.
I've had this conversation with the youth many times. Jeez, it goes back there.
Do you remember that? What did you say to him?
I said, date her.
No, you didn't.
I said, let me drink first.
Tell the truth.
I don't remember, but I believe what you said.
Well, Daniel told me that you said to him, don't talk to her, don't date her, do not date Mei. It's like playing with fire.
But I get it because she's good looking. But she is. She's very cute. Got a nice body, nice legs. I think so. To this day. Go ahead, honey.
Good for you, man.
She's good looking. Go ahead, honey.
It's good you're attracted to your wife.
It's important.
Hadassah's pretty too.
Okay.
She's also very attractive. You are too. Go ahead. Anything, Robin, or honey, you wanna? Okay, so okay, let's move forward. So she ends up going to church, and I remember this vividly. Helen calls me. Sukyun. Hey Garrett, guess what? I'm like, oh shoot. Mei and Daniel are dating. I go, oh shit. Damn. That Daniel, man, he's supposed to be pure. She called me, and then I was in the car, and I walked into Everett's house, and guess what happened? Take a guess, Robin. I locked my keys in the car.
Oh damn, really?
Because I was so like kind of shocked. I locked the door without even thinking about my keys in there.
Why is that so shocking? I did already one of your friends.
Because Daniel was a Christian, and I have not high expectations, high hopes. Probably is a better way, you know. So that was what happened. So go ahead, honey. Why don't you talk? So what happened from there? You started going to church, yes, which was Hope Church. This is the
I thought they were supposed to focus on us.
Us? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. So you started going to Hope Church the fall of 2005. This is your senior year. I'm just trying to lay the background and tell me a little bit about that experience, because I think that's very important for our relationship. You were she was not a Christian. There was an experience when you were younger. She was interested in being baptized, and now you're kind of having a little bit of a second, you know, a renaissance of your faith. And how did you feel about going to Hope Church and dating Daniel at the time? And there was also some other things going on. Why don't you explain?
So I remember, like, Daniel knew that I had feelings for him, and I think he also had feelings for me, and I could tell that he had feelings for me. But he said to me, hey, nothing's ever going to happen between you and I if you don't at least go to church. And I think the thing is, like, before the night when Garrett asked that question that, like, started a heated conversation, I said, well, to hell with it. I'm not going to church for a guy. I'm not going to go, like, he's not going to make me go to church. But because of Garrett's question, that actually made me, like, angry enough to want to go to church. And when I went to Hope Church for the first time with Daniel, the pastor actually came up to me and was like, hey, so what brings you to our church and how can I pray for you? And I actually said to him, I was like, well, I'm not a Christian. I don't, I'm not sure what I believe, but, if Jesus is really God, I do believe in a God, and if Jesus is really God, I need some miracles because that's what it's going to take for me to believe. And he's like, okay, let me pray for you. And he prayed for me. And, that's really how I felt. I needed some miracles for me to believe in this God because I had a lot of problems with Christianity.
When you say Christianity, I want to be specific. I'm not sure if you're saying Christianity or Christians.
Well,
or both.
To me, it was the same thing.
Okay.
Because you were the representative of Christianity.
Okay.
And I felt like there were a lot of hypocrites in the church.
Yeah, so
I felt like God, was often used as a crutch. I felt like it was desperate people who, who couldn't pull themselves up by their bootstraps, who needed God and needed an excuse to believe in something for hope. So I had a lot of pride. I also, didn't like all the hypocrisy in Christianity that I saw. So yeah, I was like vehemently opposed. But at the same time, the real reason that I didn't tell the pastor was I want to go to church and I want to learn everything about Christianity so I can tear your argument apart.
Dang.
So that like the next time a Christian or an atheist or whatever has an argument or a debate in my house, I'm going to speak up against the Christian and be like, no, you're wrong because this, and this.
Hell yeah. That's right, honey. Get them. Go get those Christians. So what happened after that? Did you?
I had 3 specific prayers that summer that I needed God to answer if I was going to believe in him.
You needed God to answer the God who you didn't believe in. Gotcha.
No, I believed in a God.
Oh, sorry. You didn't know it was a Christian. Okay, gotcha.
I believed in God, but I didn't know if it was Jesus Christ or not.
Okay, yeah, so what happened?
So I prayed these 3 prayers, and God eventually answered all 3 prayers because I started reading my Bible. I was trying to read the Bible as fast as I could, just so I can learn as much as I could. So I go to Bible study, in addition to going to church. I tried to go to a lot of Bible studies to try to learn different things.
So you tried to read the Bible as fast as you could, and just out of curiosity, how many times have you read the Bible, cover to cover?
8.
Dang! Just to let you know, my wife hasn't stopped. 8 times. How many times have you read the Bible cover to cover, Robin?
Twice.
5.
Oh! Some serious Christians in this room. Never mind. I'm not. This is a. All right.
And how many times have you?
It's too many to count. More than 2. I'm kidding. My point is, okay, good. I just want to highlight, May has not stopped on her promise. She does read the Bible faithfully in her bathroom.
My promise. It's not a promise. It's just.
Not a problem. She's kept her commitment. All right, go ahead, honey. So, were your prayers? Yeah.
I mean, I just felt like God was really speaking to me whenever I went to church, when I was reading the Bible, when I was praying. I always believed in prayer. I didn't have any problem with prayer or anything like that, and I always believed in a God. So I had no problem to praying to a God or to praying to who I thought God was. But I really started to feel that the God of the Bible was God.
And then you guys started dating.
Yes, we started dating. And then we both got baptized together in October of that year. I started going to church in May, and then I got baptized in October.
Okay. Anything? Have you asked any questions thus far? Or you want to ask anything?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, we were baptized in the same day.
So they have a good thing at Hope Church. I don't go to that much, but they go hardcore. They go baptism in the Sandy Point.
Yeah.
In the water, out in the ocean. If it's cold, it don't matter.
Yeah, it was October.
Yeah.
It was cold. At 6 o'clock in the morning.
Well, you know what?
6 o'clock in the morning.
6 o'clock in the morning.
Man, I can't be a Christian then. That's what it is. So early.
And you have to drive there.
Oh my God! Can we reschedule the baptism?
How far away is it? Like an hour or something?
50 minutes away. 45. Yeah.
It's
not at home,
It was an hour from where I used to live.
Can't God?
I almost missed it.
I got it. I know. God is really inconvenient sometimes. It's so annoying.
So to the relationship though.
Yeah.
So when did you start feeling? Because if I remember correctly,
Never.
when you and I could be wrong, but when you were dating Daniel, right, Maggie?
Dude, I had my eye on that.
Did you not have feelings for Maggie?
Hell yeah, man!
So when did that start?
I'm just kidding, guys. I have feelings for many things.
Romantic feelings.
Oh.
Oh,
Well, I
Lord.
also have romantic feelings for many things.
For many things? I don't know. Guys.
Mostly women in general. But
I hope
my
so.
point is that obviously May is a very good-looking woman, young woman. So if you're asking me if I thought she was attractive, my answer is yes. But that doesn't mean feelings. That's just what it means to be a guy.
Okay, answer Robin's question.
It
He's
comes.
asking
It
when
comes.
you
It
started
comes way.
having real feelings.
It comes way later.
Wait later,
Yeah,
before or
yeah.
after they break up.
All right, we'll get there. So
We're going to get there.
we'll get there. So
okay,
I don't want to
there
answer
yet.
that question just yet. So one of the things I remember is that once she started going to church, it's like my friendship with Evelyn. Once you become a Christian, same thing with you, Robin and Luis. If you're not a Christian, it's going to be really hard for me to kind of feel common denominator. And I don't think I could be friends with. Actually, tell you, if we don't share the same faith, our friendship can only go so far. So when May started going to church, we actually started becoming more respectful of each other. And I remember that the Chinese Community Church would have something called the Fall Festival, and she went to visit. And I'll let you take over from that, because I feel like that was the next time I saw you. I can remember.
So we bring in Cindy again
Oh gosh.
because
I'll put a picture of her in the podcast. Just kidding. Go ahead, honey.
well, because she was dating another guy, and this guy was kind of like a loner.
Sean.
Yeah, he was kind of a loner, and she was telling me about how he doesn't really like do a whole lot, and so I try to like be nice, and invite him to the fall festival, right?
Okay, so good reason why he's a loner is because he moved from
Hey,
Michigan.
stop drinking, man.
Oh, sorry, stop drinking.
Drink this.
Okay, yeah. He moved from Michigan, so he didn't really have a lot of things going on, right?
No, and he wasn't in school. He didn't have a job at the time, and so Cindy would go to school. She would go to work. She was basically supporting them both, and
Like Robin supporting Hadassah.
And so I was trying to be nice and take him out to do something. So I invited him to the fall festival, and Garrett was there. And then I found out afterwards, towards the end of it, that Garrett was going to take a bunch of kids to the park. And I kind of heard that Garrett was doing that. I was very sus.
Suspicious.
I was very sus.
What's he doing with these kids, man? Is he a pervert?
And why do these kids like hanging out with him? Of like all people, right?
I know. What is this picture imagining? Like, what is he doing?
No,
Is
I
it a
mean,
cult? Well, what was your fear, honey? Because I don't get it.
It wasn't just, no, it was more like, hey, I really like kids. I really like hanging out with kids. Why is he hanging out with kids? And it kind of made me like think about myself, like, I like hanging out with kids. So I decided to go out with him. I took Sean with us.
Let me give some recap. I started taking out kids from the community, the Chinatown community, about 6 to 10 kids on a regular basis on Saturdays. So that's what I was doing the day of the fall festival, where May brought Sean to church. Go ahead, honey.
And so he never had enough seats in his car, so he would always have to like double back, or he would always have to make 2 trips.
No, that's not true, honey. I just put 6 kids in the back car legally.
But you have way more than 6 kids.
But yeah, sometimes I would need to make multiple trips. Yes, honey.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I'll go with you. I'll take these kids to the park. And the kids seemed to really like Garrett. And it kind of made me like see him a little bit differently. I was still like very suspicious about like what was happening, but I did like, I didn't want to admit it, but I did like the idea that he got along with kids and kids liked him.
Honey, I don't get it. Honey, please, Robin, chime in. I don't understand what is so hard to figure out that I could get along with kids. I'm a fun guy. I'm silly, Robin. You would agree, right?
But you know what? It wasn't a mystery to me why kids got along with you.
Yeah, because I'm silly.
Yeah. What's bizarre from an adult perspective is why does a relatively... But you weren't even that much of an adult. You're like in your 20s.
Yeah, I was 20 years old.
Yeah,
You're in college.
Yeah, you're supposed to get girls, man. That's what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, why hang out with like 11, 12-year-old
Why don't you
boys
answer the question?
And invade some girls?
It's because he's a loser.
That's right, I'm a loser.
And his only
this day.
friends are kids. Because they don't look down on him. They look
That's
up at
not
him.
why.
You know what the answer
That
is.
probably is.
The answer was I was trying to grow my faith. And to be sincere for a moment, that...
Stop drinking.
stop shrinking. To be sincere, I felt that if I wanted to know God, the way to know God was to serve God. And I asked myself, what is it that I can do? I'm not really gifted in many areas, but I can try to have fun with these kids. So I did what I thought I could. And that's the answer. And I didn't even really like it, but I did it because I took my faith seriously, even though I wasn't a Christian. To be serious for a second.
I forget, was the first day that I went out with you, was that the day that Susan punched Eric?
I don't remember. Probably have no. But go ahead, honey.
Because
So
I think I remember kids crying, and I was like, this is chaotic.
It happens. Kids cry. Don't worry about
I
it.
remember it was like kind of chaotic.
I know. It's all part of fun. So you came.
Dazzy definitely threw up.
Dazzy throws up, and so do Tommy and Edward and the other kids who work out with me at the gym. But yes, go ahead. So you came and hung out with me that day. What did you think? What was your initial thoughts? You said that it was interesting to you.
It was interesting.
We went to the park, and then we also went to pizza afterwards, and then we took them home. Yeah, tell me.
And you bought all the kids pizza.
Absolutely.
Which was nice. And I never thought of Garrett as a nice guy, really.
What can we learn, Robin? Don't judge a book by its dumb cover.
That's absolutely true with you.
Don't. I can read too, you know.
Well, no. What I meant to say was you can't tell from your initial analysis of such a person.
Or secondary, or tertiary.
Yes, it does take quite a few before you get to the real layers of you as a person.
And that's why I love Hadassah, because she liked me on the first time. To Hadassah,
She
thank
was
you.
judging you.
Were you? No, sorry, side note. But thank you, Hadassah, for not hating me, like most people do. All right, go ahead, honey. Any other thoughts?
What was the question?
No, just from that first time of seeing me hang out with kids. I know that was something I remember. And I actually really appreciated me because, because I was doing this on my own, it's kind of lonely. And it's hard because, you have to do everything. So having someone there to talk to as a coworker, to help you out with driving, it makes it a lot more fun. And especially because I'm a guy, I don't know what to do with girls when they cry to this day. Let's just say go get a drink of water. And it's a PE teacher. So it was very pleasant that someone joined me. Anything else, honey?
Well, I mean, so basically after that, life continued where I continued dating his friend Daniel. And every now and then we would go out with him and the kids to kind of help out, especially when there was like a larger group of kids. Daniel wasn't huge on going out with Garrett and the kids, but I kind of, I enjoyed it. And I always felt like as Christians, we should help out. We should care about these kids, these inner city kids. So sometimes I would say, hey, Daniel, let's go hang out with Garrett and the kids. And Daniel wouldn't want to. I'd be like, why? Like, these kids. I didn't understand why someone wouldn't want to hang out with kids.
Because it costs money.
That wasn't the issue.
That was the reason. Man.
No, that wasn't
They're not cute enough. They're not.
He had things that he wanted to do, and hanging out with kids wasn't like the most enjoyable for him.
Kidding. Daniel he's more of he's like a car guy. He likes to work in his car. He's into,
introverted, I guess.
He's more into like building stuff. I'm a people person. He's into gadgets. So that's the difference between Daniel and I. I'm also, likewise incompetent when it comes to fixing things. That's his thing. I'm a people person. He's more of a task thing person. So go ahead, honey.
But I mean, I enjoyed hanging out with Garrett and taking the kids out. And, every time I saw that something would happen with the girls, I would feel like, yo, this guy needs somebody here. Like, somebody needs to help these girls. Someone needs to protect these girls from these guys. Boys are beating up on the girls. They're in the bathroom crying. I'm having the Spider-Man into the bathroom stall to get them out and like.
It wasn't that bad. It's just kids being kids. It's like recess. You're gonna have a little crying. It's not like this. It's not like a gang.
It was like crying a lot. It was like I felt like
it was just.
If it was
girls.
not every week, it was like every other week.
And my answer is kids cry. Kids cry. So what?
It was just pretty chaotic. Okay, it was pretty chaotic, and I really felt like, I started to feel more that like he needed help. So I wanted to help more, but at the same time I wanted to do it with my boyfriend, and my boyfriend didn't really want to do it. And then eventually.
Oh, by the way, just a side note, I was really close with her boyfriend. We got along real well. So.
And also because of like I was helping Garrett out with the kids and stuff like that, and because Garrett got along really well with my boyfriend, they were like good friends. I got to know Garrett more, and sometimes when my boyfriend and I would get in fights and stuff, naturally, I would, if Garrett's asking me how my week was, I was like, oh, I got in a fight with Daniel, blah blah. He kind of became kind of like a confidant.
I'm just a nice person, Robin. Robin knows this. I'm a nice guy.
You are a nice guy.
I mean, I'll be nice to guys, girls. It don't matter. It's not. I guess what I want me to know or the audience, it's not like I'm some sexual predator. Like, oh yeah, it's my opportunity. No, I just.
I would hope not as a Christian. Well, you weren't a Christian yet.
But even if you're Christian, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying in general. I just enjoy checking up on seeing how my friends are doing. That's all. And I'm very social.
And it was interesting because he would call me a lot. And it seemed like, actually, now that I'm remembering, it seemed like every time I got in a fight with Daniel, he would call me.
That's because Daniel would tell me to call you.
That's what I thought.
Just kidding.
I was like, Garrett, why are you calling me right now? Did Daniel tell you to call me? Tell him I'm still mad.
Oh God! Now I'm on the opposite side. He said, "Robin, call my wife, by the way, next time." I need some. Anyway, go ahead. So we hung out with the kids, and then I remember that the next time we really hung out was when we went to STP, which was a Christian retreat for like 10 days. Go ahead, honey. What are your thoughts about that and how we got along, our relationship?
I mean, like, so at that time, it was always like Garrett, me, and Judy, right? Judy was our other friend, and we would hang out together, and I don't know, Garrett was a good friend, a really good friend, and it was, like, interesting because I found out later from him that at the end of STP, they had this thing where all the brothers would take the sisters out.
I was about to interject. Go ahead, honey.
And go ahead, tell that story.
All right, this is to answer your question, Robin. I'm a good guy. I like to pretend I'm not, but actually, I'm a man of integrity by my own standards.
High moral fiber.
And so they said we were supposed to do this thing when you take out people at the end, like a date night, and I'm like, kind of, it's not really date, but like, but basically, it's basically teaching guys to be chauvinistic. No, apologize, that's the wrong word. What's the word? Chivalrous.
Yeah,
sorry.
I was like, what?
Sorry. It's 3 syllables. See, chivalrous, 3 syllables. And they said, Garrett, why don't you be with me? I said, I don't want to do it. Like, it's already, like, I'm already kind of friends with her, and I don't want to mislead her. And I chose not to. And
Dude, you're not misleading me. I had no interest.
Well, I didn't want to make it complicated.
I'm in love with Daniel.
Okay, sure. But my point is I really want to respect boundaries. Hey, I'm good with being friends. I am. But I also believe there's, like, I don't want to be that guy, And it's wrong. So I switched places. I said, let me just take out this other girl. And she's fine. It worked out. Her name was Jennifer. She was really boring. She's tall, but I guess that was the common denominator. She's tall. I'm tall. And I tried to not I tried not to, I guess what I'm saying, Robin, I didn't want to give off the wrong signals.
You also didn't feel anything at the time.
I did.
Oh, you did?
But that doesn't mean, a ton because, that's how guys are. We all have feelings. So I'm not going to say just.
So when did you start having feelings?
So when did you first start?
Every time you look.
Huh?
What?
When you see someone, you have feelings.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, Hadassah, what's up? I'm just kidding. No. My point is that because we had good natural chemistry, I knew there was a very. It was very easy for me to develop feelings, so I had to kind of keep a check on myself.
So was this
summer
before? Is this before?
They were still dating.
They were still, but was it like midway when they were dating?
No, towards the very end.
Towards the end.
Yeah, That's not true. That's not true.
So we went to STP, which is in June, and you broke with Daniel in July 3rd.
So June was more like very apparent to you.
Apparent in what?
That's not true.
Go ahead, honey. Sorry. Yes, go ahead.
We broke up
in July.
No, we broke up in June.
The very end of June, then. I
think we went to STP. It must have been May or June.
No, yeah, it's the end of May to June, beginning June, and you broke up with Daniel. I think probably end of June or July 1st. But go ahead.
No, it was in June.
I remember because I was on the way to summer NYSC, which is in July. And that's when May told me I broke up with Daniel. So that's how I know the date. So, anyways, my point was, I know I had initial traction. Let me, if you want to get to that. So the day we came back from this retreat, we took out kids, and I remember that we took out kids. We went swimming, and then we went to see X-Men 3, which sucked.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I really wanted to see that movie. Did you have high hopes?
Yeah, I really
And it
wanted
was
to.
terrible. Anyways,
Passable.
oh God. So we were waiting to watch the movie. And I remember sitting by the water fountain in Union Station, back when they had a movie theater, and thinking to myself, I'm having the time of my life right now, and I'm not doing anything. And I go, oh shit, I have really strong feelings for me. And you know what I did? Shove it deep down as hard as I can. You understand? You take those feelings and you push it down. But I remember saying to myself, oh crap, it's apparent. So, I mean, and it happens. And I'm not saying just because you have feelings you have to date, but I kind of was like, I better really restrain my inner thoughts to not let this be a stumbling block. Maybe not let this prevent me from having integrity. So go ahead, honey.
You know, after I broke up with Daniel, I also went on a mission trip to Thailand. And I was like really lost because I just graduated from college and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. My father had just passed away the like previous fall. And then, you know, so I broke up with my boyfriend, graduated from college, like was still trying to figure things out without a father. My family's like family owned business was shut down by this point. My mom hadn't been working. So it was kind of like a very depressing time. My sister had just had a baby in April. And when I was in Thailand, I knew I didn't want to come back. But people kept saying, you need to go back at least for your family and stuff because your sister just had a baby, your mom's a widow, she's still grieving, the family is like trying to like pick up from your father's death and stuff like that. And I was like, fine, I'll go back to America, but I really didn't want to come back. And I thought, okay, fine, if I'm going back to America, what is my purpose? What is my point? And I knew one thing was that I felt purpose when I took out the kids with Garrett. So I committed to myself, at least, that when I came back, I was going to help Garrett with Cool Church Kids more. So when I came back, I told Garrett, I was like, hey, I want to help you more regularly. I want to like, and you were like, what do you mean you want to help more regularly? Or like, what do you mean you want to come out more? I was like, I'll go out with you every time you take out the kids. Like, I'll, you know, if it's every week, I'll come and help.
I took out just side note, because Hadassah asked me about, you know, you read my book. Yeah, I took out kids every weekend, Saturday and Sunday.
So at that time, do you know May's family usually?
Yeah, I know. But anyways, so go ahead, honey. But she said, to answer your question, I would be there every time Garrett takes the kids. Well, that's every weekend.
Yeah. So like, you were asking me what did I mean by like being committed? I wanted to like be fully committed, and I was like, I'll be there. I'll basically be there every week. Like when you take out the kids, I'll come help you out with the kids.
And so that summer, you know, I worked, and I remember there was so let's answer Robin's question. Once Daniel broke up with me, game on.
But you were worried though at first though.
What?
And I believe May, didn't you still have feelings for Daniel?
I have very strong feelings for Daniel.
I'm
That
kidding.
was
Just because I have
then.
feelings for me doesn't mean I have to date her. But I was okay with having feelings with her. That's in my head I could justify. And just a side note, I also became a Christian in that retreat. You know, I found out May broke up with her boyfriend when I was driving, when we were going up to the retreat. That retreat, I became a Christian, and also, I felt at peace after being a Christian that I could have feelings for May. Because as a Christian, if you don't know, like the foundation is God. And then from there you can build on that, and romance can come second. So, but I wasn't willing to entertain romance unless I felt like there was a foundation for my faith in God. And from that retreat, I got both. So that was the beginning of July, and I had feelings. That doesn't mean in any way I had to act on it, but that's when I allowed myself to entertain those thoughts. We all have feelings, we all have thoughts, but the difference is, do we feed them? And the answer is, I can now feed them without feeling guilty. Yeah. Which before I would not feed it. Yeah, it's true, because I don't want to be that guy. Like this girl's dating my friend, so why would I want to be? Why would I want to think this way? Because I'm.
Yeah. So
Okay, go ahead.
what was the first pivotal moment?
Well, from being a Christian for me, and saying and trusting in God that like it was okay for me to put to have romance for M.E.A.T. But go ahead, honey. So you came back for your mission trip. Anything else happened? I could chime in, but
I came back from my mission trip.
and then you start hanging out with me and the kids more.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you were still my confidant, and I would still share with you how much I love Daniel.
I love him too.
I would share with you how much I love Daniel, and how I didn't understand because my father actually gave him the blessing before my father died.
Like the Bible.
Yes.
You put your hand underneath his thigh.
No, it was not like that.
Okay,
it was
sorry.
more like my dad really didn't like him at first because he saw him as like some punk kid.
He's Korean.
Who wore cargo pants, who had highlighted hair, who wore chains on his cargo pants.
Not this.
Who would walk around carrying a guitar sometimes. My dad saw
Who
him.
walks gangster?
Yeah, and so my dad really didn't like him, but my dad was already diagnosed with terminal cancer, so we already knew that he was gonna, not live very long, and I didn't care if my dad didn't like him because that's how much I love Daniel. I wanted to marry him. I wanted to spend the rest of my life with him. And finally, my mom had a talk with my dad and was like, yo, your daughter really likes this guy. Is this something that you wanted to, dig your heel into right before you pass away?
So yes, it's safe to say that May had a huge hangover when they broke up.
Oh, yeah.
For a while.
Well, I mean, I had a lot of hope that we were going to get back together.
Me too. Psych. Go ahead, honey.
Yeah, and then, Garrett got baptized in August?
Labor Day. September.
Okay.
Just to brag, first person to get baptized in the current location of CCC Church with Audrey Wong. But go ahead, honey.
Okay, so he got baptized in September. But, I was happy for him. I didn't understand what took him so long, especially since he had been seeking so much longer.
Can we rewind just for a second? So during that summer, my car broke down. I got in a car accident, and May had to drive me around, help me drive around a little bit because I didn't have a car.
True.
And we hung out for, I remember, 18 or 21 days in a row, and
21.
we got along real well, and it was nice. And honestly, I don't want to say it's sexual because I do believe guys and girls can be friends, and I don't think it was a sexual. I think it was a very nice.
Definitely not sexual for me.
Yeah, and it was a very nice friendship, because I wasn't like trying to pursue her. So I want to say it was a good friendship. It was a good time as a friend, and I appreciated her picking me up from work at times, and
driving you to work,
and driving, and a few times, not a lot, but we did have a stretch there where we got a lot closer. What do you remember from that, honey?
I just remember being depressed that I was broken up with my boyfriend, and this guy was like my friend, and he was also a loser like me, and we were both being losers together because his car broke down, and
my car didn't break down. I got in a car accident. It got destroyed.
You're right.
It's called
You didn't have a car.
unsalvageable. It's a wrap.
Okay, yeah.
What do you call it? It's a total loss. Sorry.
So he's driving straight. He's looking straight. He rear ends someone.
Yeah.
He must have done that on purpose, because.
Oh yeah, I crashed. Sorry, apologies.
Because I remember he crashed.
If you didn't know, I crashed my car on purpose so I could get May to drive me around. That's how devoted I was to my convictions. Just kidding. So we did hang out, and go ahead. So any else you remember that summer?
I just remember you were really. I thought to myself, you were a very good friend.
I am a good friend. It's not, and I just want to say, it's not because she's a girl. I try. And Robin, help me out, man. Just for the audience, I'm not just like a predator.
No, you're definitely not.
I'm not just friends with girls because I want to get in their pants or something. Go ahead, Robin.
No, you're a very unique individual, and you must meet him to know. A truly genuine guy.
I'm a good friend.
One of a kind.
Yeah.
That's why we're still friends after all these years.
To this day.
To this day.
No, I want people just no. I was genuinely just a friend because I did not act on my feelings.
Well, anyway.
No, I would do the same thing for anybody.
Well, you don't have to. You don't have to debate that. This is
I just want people to know. I just want you to know, honey. I wasn't conniving. I just enjoyed our friendship.
Okay,
and
but
it was
let's
nice.
just leave it there. Just leave it there. Okay, just leave it there.
Because I know it's very easy for people to misconstrue.
You're pontificating.
Okay.
All right. So, I mean, Garrett got baptized in September. We went to a church retreat in what, October?
Let's rewind because during that time. No, rewind because there was a lot of things that happened because she said like, Garrett, don't ever date me. I'm like, I'm cool. Okay.
No. Is that then?
No, it's before then. All throughout the summer and the fall, she'd say to me, we're not going to date. And I'm like, okay. So there was a tension. There was a tension between us being friends and Garrett, don't date. I'm like, okay. So I guess what I'm trying to highlight was that during this whole time period, it wasn't like we were getting closer and hoping to date. No, there was a very clear line that May said to me, I still want to be with Daniel. And I go, that's fine.
I'm waiting for him.
And I was as even though I liked her, I am fine with that. In terms of like, okay, you do whatever you need to do. I'm not here to like tell you you can't have those feelings or say that's wrong. So I just want
I don't know that I felt any pressure or any inkling that anybody was thinking about you and I dating until probably after you got baptized. Okay?
So
Because I think after you got baptized is when some people started suggesting, including your ex Cindy, tried to suggest to me that I should date Garrett.
Cindy, I knew you were worth dating. You really redeemed yourself
Oh my
right
gosh.
Twists and turns on this.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Like I would hang out with Cindy and there was like one time she was like, "Oh, do you know who you're going to date next? I know who you're going to date next." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? I'm still in love with Daniel. Why are you talking to me about dating other people? I'm not thinking about dating other people. Like, why are you talking to me like as if I'm over Daniel? Like, I'm not over Daniel."
I get it. Yeah.
And I was like very annoyed. Like, you're being like very like teenager-ish, like middle schoolish. Like, "Oh, you know who do you want to date next?" And I'm like, I'm not even thinking about that.
Yeah.
So I didn't even answer her question when she was saying that to me. And then she's like, "Don't you want to know who you're going to date next?" I'm like, "You mean like who you think I'm going to date next?" And then I was like, I didn't say anything because I didn't actually want an answer. Mm. And then she offers her answer. She says, "You're going to date Garrett next." And I was like, I would never date Garrett.
Okay. And she made that clear very many times.
But that was when, and then Cindy said, "Because Garrett likes you." And I was like, "No, he doesn't. We're just really good friends." And then she's like, "Yes, he does. He told Judy that he likes you."
Oh, crap.
And I was like, "No, we're really good friends." "No, he didn't."
Don't
What do you
ever
mean he told Judy?
Don't ever tell women a secret, guys. If you wanted to be kept a secret, it's the moral of the story. Women talk too much. Do you remember when I told you I like me? Go ahead, Ron. What do you remember?
Well, I mean,
Do you remember when he told you that?
I don't remember what.
Summer, for sure.
I definitely remember it was certainly during the Daniel years, mm-hmm. And you're just like, man, you know, I really like me, but she's dating Daniel. I don't know what to do. But not maybe you didn't say that.
No, I think they were broken up. Yeah.
But you were struggling. You're like, oh no, I was like. You and I have had a few conversations about like, oh, I don't know whether it's right or when's a good time or something like that. So
interesting. I didn't know this, Robin. I never heard this side.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
Well, you know, I like to consult different people.
So I thought that was really interesting. It was a really interesting time. And actually, it's funny enough. I do remember this story. I'm just taking over now, but I do remember one time. Oh, it was Daniel's birthday.
Yes.
And everyone went to dinner, and it was like a Korean restaurant, I think.
Uh-huh.
And you actually made him an apple pie.
That's
I remember
right.
this, and I remember because Garrett was like, it was like, May made this apple pie, but don't tell Daniel where this apple pie came from. I was like, she still likes him. I'm like, oh, okay. One of the best apple pies I ever had, though. By the way. So these are these moments in life I just still remember, and you were still like.
Better not like it too much, Robin.
Hey man, I got no dog in this fight, man. I just like to have a fight.
I'm just kidding. I am not. I really believe in letting people make their own decision.
And that was the right choice.
Because I'm not like a kind of guy that tries to control women. Mm-hmm. Now the difference is, as a Sunday school teacher, I have a different perspective. Like I'm your coach. I'm guiding you. But as a friend, I usually want to let people make their own decisions. Mm-hmm. I mean, when it comes, I feel guilty.
Well, this is different. That's a completely different dynamic.
Yeah, but go ahead. Anything else?
It's not like you can force yourself on me, bro.
No, but some guys can be very controlling and manipulative, and I'm not that kind of guy. That's all I'm saying.
So, So I'm pretty sure a lot of things happened in between, but where were the moments leading right up to the, I'm gonna date me.
I never made a decision to date her. But go ahead, honey.
Eventually
you were playing a lot of mind games with yourself, though, from what you told me.
I to be honest with you, I was not planning to date May because I felt that she needed to heal from her relationship with Daniel. And I believe that's a really good thing in general, that when you date someone, you break up, don't pounce, don't jump, don't get another relationship, because you need to find yourself first. So to answer your question, just because I have feelings, I never made the decision I am going to date May. Like I want to plan a moment.
Well, not right away, but I mean, eventually you had to make that.
No,
decision.
I didn't.
What?
But go ahead. I'll let you talk about the retreat. So we go back to the retreat.
Okay, I do want to say, since you brought up the fact that I used to tell you that we're not gonna date. So after Cindy said to me, "You should date Garrett," that's when I felt, and I wasn't sure if what she was telling me was true or not. So I felt the need to put out there into the universe and to Garrett. I know what some people are saying. Mm-hmm. Some people think we should date, and they think we'll make a great couple, because that's basically what she said. She pitched him to me, or pitched us to me. And I said, don't ever think about it, because we're really good friends.
Of course, that's stupid. Why would I ever think that? We're just friends.
We're really good friends. What we have with Cool Church Kids is a great thing. Mm-hmm. I would never want to jeopardize that.
Absolutely.
And it would never work out.
100%. That's how I talk.
100%.
Yeah, totally, right there. Yeah, why?
But then he asked me, why wouldn't it work out? And in my head, I was like, why is that even a question?
Oh shit, I got.
I was like, do you really want to know why it wouldn't work out? Well, you're dirty, you're cheap, you're not chivalrous.
Or also, it's just too close in the genetic pool.
You're dirty, you're cheap, you're not chivalrous. You're like too arrogant.
I'm brute. I'm refined. I'm unromantic.
And then he said to me, I could change.
That's true.
And I thought that was odd, but I let it go. And I just put it there. I was just like, don't ever think about it. We're really good friends, and we'll be butt buddies, like best friends, like no matter what for the rest of our life, but we will never date. Don't ever think about it.
I wasn't trying to win her over. I really wasn't. And I accept whatever she felt. I was like, okay, that's fine. I really am.
That's a lie.
No, what I'm saying is, honey, is that even though I feel hurt inside, I respect your feelings.
You were very respectful.
Yes.
I felt he was very respectful. Looking back, because I still wasn't sure if he liked me or not. I just know what some people were saying. Oh, you guys would make a good couple.
Love you, Cindy. Thank you.
Yeah.
So go ahead. So go into the retreat.
So we went to this retreat. And I have this ring that Daniel had walked all over New York to find for me after we broke up. And to me, that was a symbol that he still cared for me a lot, which gave me a lot of hope. He went on a trip with Judy and some friends. I had gotten this ring on one of my trips with him to New York, lost that ring, and I asked my friend Judy to help me find an equivalent ring and buy it for me. And she kind of gave up, but he was with her, and he knew that she was looking for this ring for me, and he ended up going from store to store, and he found an equivalent and gave it to her to give to me, and told her not to tell her. I told her not to tell me that he had found it. But of course she told me.
You can't trust women. And by the way, just a side note, Robin, as a man, as an American, I believe may the best man win. So I don't feel the need to say, like, you can't, like, it's fine. I don't feel jealous. I just go, whoever wins, wins. in my opinion. But go ahead, honey. Let's go to the retreat. So
Yeah, so at the retreat, like I was starting to feel this pressure from our friends, or mostly they were mostly Garrett's friends.
no, Try and Judy.
They're mostly your friends.
They're closer to me.
They're closer to Garrett, and I was starting to feel this pressure from all these people. Right, I think it was right before. Right before the retreat, I actually found out from another person.
Who?
From Laura.
Fuck that.
From Laura.
Girls, man.
I found out from her that you had feelings for me, and even when Cindy told me this, I didn't really believe it, and I was like, oh, whatever. But then when Laura told me, she's like, what do you mean you don't know that he likes you? I was like, what do you mean he likes me? We're just really good friends. I know you guys think he likes me, but we're just really good friends. She's like, no, he likes you. How do you not know this? And I was like, what? And she's like, everybody knows he likes you. I was like, what do you mean everybody knows he likes you?
I'm not very good at poker, Rob. I'm sorry.
She was like, everybody knows. How do you not know? How do you not feel it? And I was like, we're just really good friends. And, but the way she was saying it to me, I was like, oh, maybe he does like me.
Maybe I do.
And so that, after hanging out with her on campus that night, I actually went to his apartment on campus, and he was being very elusive on his laptop. He was on AOL Instant Messenger, and he was chatting with someone. I could tell he was chatting with someone, but he didn't want me to see what he was typing.
I think it was Daniel.
You were talking to Daniel. You told me it was Daniel.
Okay.
And I was really kind of pissed off because I had told him before, don't ever think about dating me. You know, having feelings would just complicate things. It would jeopardize things. Don't do it. I'm not going to do it. You don't do it.
Oh my God.
And so when I found out from her that, what do you mean you don't know he likes you and stuff? I was pissed. I was like, I told him not to like me. How can he like me? Like, this is, like, I was pissed. So I went over to his apartment and I was trying to, like, confront him without confronting him. Yeah, so I was just
investigate, maybe.
Yeah, kind of like, and I wanted to say something, but I also knew that once I said that I knew, I couldn't take it back. And I wanted things to just continue the way it was.
And it would.
I wanted things to continue just the way it was and nothing to ever change. So I actually didn't confront him that night, but I could tell he was kind of uncomfortable. So you told me later that you were having a conversation on Instant Messenger with Daniel.
Yeah, I don't want to talk too much about it. It's embarrassing. All right, fine. All right. It sounds it's a little awkward, but I'm not usually like this. I'm like Robin. I'm very laissez-faire, Hadassah. Daniel was like, I want to date May again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I said, you had your chance, motherfucker. I didn't say that. I said, you had your chance, like, and I said,
you told me.
I said, I got next. I was like, basketball, I got next. So I don't remember exactly what I said, but I said, you had your chance, you know, and I'm not going to change. I guess I said, I'm not going to change my thoughts or my opinion, you know.
Well, you told me.
My hopes. How about that?
No, you told me that Daniel said to you that night, Garrett, I know you like May-Yi. And you're like, yeah. And then Daniel's like, but what if I want her back?
Ooh, snap.
That's what you told me.
Something like that. So he was kind of wavering a little bit, like second guessing himself. So I don't really like to fight for people. I feel that it's a more sign of insecurity. Mm-hmm. And I'm. All right, go ahead, though, honey.
You told me that you said to him, you had your chance, but I can make her more happy.
Oh, okay, that sounds believable.
That's what you told me you said.
That's straight out of a movie.
Yeah. He's like, you had your chance, and you broke her heart,
Still
and
working on this.
and I can make her happy.
I know, I'm working on that.
I think I can make her happier. That's what he said.
Yeah, okay. So we go to the retreat, and now you feel that.
Now I'm feeling this pressure.
This.
Huh?
What?
After you mentioned to Daniel.
No.
I said it's on.
I can tell that part later.
Okay.
But basically, Garrett, I was feeling this pressure from all the friends. They had me like come over. Okay, I had a really good time with Garrett. We went out into the woods and we were being stupid. And I like to use my imagination sometimes. Like there is a kid in me, just like there's a kid in Garrett, that's why it's fun
To this
to
day.
play with Garrett, because we were both being kids together. We were using our imagination. I started making up the story like, oh, there's these people after us. We gotta hide in the woods. Like let's cross this like creek and stuff like that. And Garrett was playing along with me, and it was a lot of fun. And I had a great time with him. Then it was dinner time. We went back to the dinner hall, and our friends were there, and they're like, oh, Garrett, come over, come over here. And I heard Judy talking. She's like, let's get her to look into your eyes. If she looks into your eyes and it dilates, that means she has feelings for you. And I could hear all this. And then I started thinking, I was like, oh yeah, when we went to go hang out, Tria was like all of a sudden like, oh, I gotta go use the bathroom. And Judy's like, oh, you gotta use the bathroom? Me too, I gotta go use the bathroom. Then they both disappeared.
Yeah, they were trying to set us up. And I was not like I told him to do this, by the way. But go ahead, honey.
So I started to feel this pressure, and then Judy was like, come over here, look in his eyes. And I just like felt so awkward. I felt like I was like under a microscope, and I felt really uncomfortable. Daniel was also at this retreat. And like I said, I still had feelings for Daniel. So it was very uncomfortable. And I actually felt really overwhelmed. And I went to go talk to one of the small group leaders.
His name was Alex Pun.
Alex and Pun. And I was like crying because I was like, I'm feeling all this pressure from people because they want me to be with Garrett. But I'm still in love with Daniel, and I still believe in Daniel and I. And my dad, gave him the blessing before he passed away. And I, still really love him. And, Garrett's my best friend. And I found out that he has feelings for me. And now it's like we're not going to be able to be friends anymore like we used to because he has feelings for me. And, even actually, thinking about it right now, I feel a little emotional because I felt like I was at this point where it's our friendship is over because he started having feelings for me. And that means we can't hang out with cool church kids. We can't hang out the way we used to because now he has feelings for me and I can't reciprocate.
It's okay, man. I got a good core. I can take it to the body.
Yeah.
No, but then it wouldn't be pure anymore. It wouldn't be pure because
no one's more pure than me.
That was part of the reason why I was so mad when I found out from Laura that you had feelings for me. I was like, that means that's in the summertime when we hung out almost every day together. I didn't know it was every day. He calculated it. He was keeping track. That when we hung out, I thought he was my best friend. I thought he was a really good friend. But now I know it's just because he liked me.
That's what I want to make sure, honey. No, it's not true. I enjoyed being with you. And
you can say it's not true, but that's what I really felt. It was not pure. And I was like, it's like he's not really my friend anymore. It's a lie.
Basically what I'm saying is I value friendship. So I don't want people to think that I'm just only hanging out with people that I have a crush on. That's silly. But go ahead, honey.
Anyway, I told Pun.
So she was upset.
I was really upset, and Pun was like, you need to confront Garrett. You need to tell him that you need your space. You need to tell him that
back up.
It's not okay. Back up. And then so I go into the message.
You try to cock block me, man. Dang.
Dang.
Stop cock blocking me, Pun. Sorry, that's slang for saying getting my way. Go ahead, honey.
So I go into the message that night, and Sue Kim is giving a message about, do
you want to date who you want to date, or you want to date who God wants you to date?
Yeah. So he starts talking about, he starts describing the ideal person that people want to date, the ideal girl, the ideal guy, someone who's really talented, who's handsome, who's smart, who's going to make a lot of money, who drives a nice car and all these things. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds just like Daniel.
Oh, shit.
And then
to this day, my car sucks.
Incredible.
And then he starts saying or have you ever thought about the type of guy that God wants you to date?
Hell yeah.
A guy who pushes you to be closer to God.
Yeah.
Someone who will pray with you, or who will encourage you to pray, who will encourage you to read your Bible, encourage you to seek after him and stuff. And I was like, oh no.
It sounds so cringe.
I was like, the only person in my life who does that right now is Garrett. Like, in terms of a guy. And I was like, God, are you telling me to marry Garrett?
Oh, God. Why would you do such a thing?
Oh, God.
Why have you forsaken me, Lord?
Why?
Oh, my... Oh, God. What does it say? Father, why have you forsaken me on this cross? For those who don't know, that's what Jesus Christ cried before he died. And May died, part of her died at that moment too.
I was feeling conviction listening to this message, and I was also like dying.
Bro, I was getting good.
I was getting
feel,
roasted.
man. I was getting a little dopamine from that message, man.
Do you remember that message?
Hell yeah, I remember that message because I remember going, yeah.
Do you really? Did you
that.
really think that though? No. I'm like thinking back in the moment. Did you actually feel anything from the message?
No, I already knew that. Silly. I you know what I was thinking? I was like, man, May better be hearing this. She better hear this message. Where's she at? This message is for her,
No, you
not for
did.
me.
Did you really think that?
100%. Yeah, why? Yes, I did. Why would I not think that? Like the whole time thinking, hey man, look at me. Look how,
Oh my gosh.
obviously, I wanted I wasn't going like this, yeah, like cheering but in my head I was.
I don't even think you made the correlation.
I'm not retarded, honey. I'm not that retarded. Obviously, I wanted you to hear that message. Yes.
Well, anyway.
Because basically the message, and see, this is where I'm going to explain. I remember the message. Sue Kim had said, man, before I married my wife, I wanted to date a club girl. Someone go to club with, and I see my Christina, or my current wife, and she wasn't a club girl, and I hurt her feelings, and that was like, in my opinion, that was like me and Daniel. It's like I wasn't the club guy. I wasn't cool. I wasn't, I didn't have a nice car. I wasn't sophisticated. I was like Christina, his wife. I was, not the superficial preference that she desired. I was Garrett the buffoon. So yes, I remember that message very clearly, and I also remember during the message I kept saying, where the fuck is May, man? She need to be here. She needs to listen to this message. And she was, but I couldn't find her because I would always try to locate her in the room, because you gotta keep tabs.
Yeah.
So yes, I remember the message clearly.
And after he gave his message, he told us to go into a time of prayer.
Don't need to pray about it. I already did.
And I remember standing near the fireplace, and I had my hand behind my back, and I kept on twisting the ring that I had on. Because the reason why I wore this ring that Daniel had found for me, it was kind of like a promise ring for myself that I was going to wear this ring until we got back together, until he gave me a different ring type of thing.
Uh-huh.
And so I kept praying, and I was like talking to God. I was like, God, the only person in my life that really like pushes me towards you is Garrett. Like he like encourages me. Like he's always sharing with me things that he's learning about what he's reading, about Christianity and stuff. And he makes me want to be a better Christian, because of like how he like cares for these kids. How generous he is. Like he was the most generous when I went on my missions trip.
Can we? That's a great moment for May that she didn't share. So when this was when she was still dating Daniel in June, she was going on a mission trip to Thailand and telling me about that for fundraising, because I know I gave you some money, and tell me your question. That's when I think she kind of. That was nice.
I had a disappointing moment with Daniel, is what it was.
Oh, I was focused on myself, but go ahead.
Yeah, you made me feel disappointed in my Christian boyfriend, my ideal Christian boyfriend, right? Mm-hmm. Who was musically inclined, who could like lead worship or participate in worship, play the guitar, for God and stuff like that.
I can't sing.
So when I was fundraising, I was probably one of the people on my team that was fundraising the slowest. And I remember Daniel was debating how much to give me for the missions trip. And he was like, I'm debating if I should give you $100 or $200 because I want to buy a new amp. True. If I give you $200, then I can't buy the new amp. But if I give you $100, then I can buy the new amp. And Garrett donated all his summer.
No, I did not. I gave you $400.
You didn't give it to me. Excuse me. you donated all your summer earnings to missionaries
No, I didn't.
or people fundraising for
I
missions.
just recap. I gave. I think I gave you 400, and I also gave Eric, my friend from STP, 200 for in the car wash because I was thankful to God for my job, and I said, let me honor you, God, with my money.
Did you not give like Alan you money too?
No, he was not going on a mission trip, but
I thought.
I might. I'm sure.
I was
But
pretty
anyways, my
sure
point
you
is,
gave a lot.
my
You
point
gave
was,
a lot of your paycheck.
my point was that I didn't. It wasn't just because I like me. I felt it was a conviction to God to give people money, and May was certainly
I
one of those
didn't
people.
think that you liked me then, but you
Yeah.
don't need to, you know. But anyway, the point is
Yeah.
like, he gave me 400.
I gave it to you because I thought you were more poor than Eric.
And my boyfriend at the time, who was a Christian, who had been a Christian for longer, was debating between 100 and 200. And it was for selfish reasons. And he ended up giving me 100 so that he could get the amp. And in my head, it was like, even though I was a new Christian, I was like, why wouldn't you want someone to go on a mission trip? Or why wouldn't you give generously as a Christian? Why wouldn't any Christian give generously? I was like very confused by that, you know?
Well, he's not as Christian as me, duh. I'm just kidding. But yes, my point was yes, that made you appreciate me in some ways, I guess.
It made me feel like he was more Christian than Daniel, even though he wasn't a baptized Christian at the time.
Yeah. So.
And so I always felt like Garrett was a good person to look to if I wanted to be better.
Oh, okay.
You know, like if I wanted to really seek after God, I feel like he would always push himself a lot to seek after God. You know, like to an uncomfortable point, which was, you know, which I admired. I admired Garrett a lot for a lot of his like Christian qualities.
I'm still uncomfortable, by the way. Go ahead, Adi.
Yeah. So anyway, we went to time of prayer at the retreat, right? After Soo Kim gave his message and challenged us to really reflect on the type of person we wanted to spend the rest of our life with. You know, a person of the world or a person of God. And I really started to feel convicted that God wanted me to marry Garrett. Like not just like date him, but to marry someone like him. And I wasn't really like, I don't know if like I was really sure in that moment, but I still also had everything that Pun or Alex told me in the back of my mind of confronting him, of like, I was really confused after the message basically, and after the praying. And then I think after the praying, I was convicted because we were leaving the retreat that night early because I think Garrett had to go to work or something like that.
No, we wanted to take the kids to church because I'm devoted to the youth. So we went back early so I could take the kids to church.
So we left after that. And
Saturday night.
In the car, I believe I gave you the ring.
I remember that.
I gave Garrett the ring. I said, Garrett, I want to give you this ring to hold on to for me. And you were like, why are you giving me this ring? Do you remember what I said?
I don't remember. I just remember you gave it to me. It was a cylindrical ring that kind of looked almost like a plumbing piece. But go ahead.
I gave you the ring and I was like, I want you to hold on to it for me until I ask for it back or whatever. But basically in my head, I was committing that like I was going to think about what God was telling me and convicting me of.
And so the next day,
I confronted him at Lotte after he had football practice.
mm-hmm.
And I was like, Garrett, you're so stupid. And you were like, what do you mean?
Oh, yeah?
And I was like, I know everything.
I know everything.
I wanted him to admit it without me having to say it outright because it was so weird for me. But you were like, what do you mean you know everything? I was like, I know everything.
She saw the dossier. The report.
I
was busted.
I know how you feel about me.
Mm-hmm.
And you were like, yeah. And I was like, he was just like very nonchalant. And I was like, what do you mean? Just yeah. And I was like, Garrett, I know you like me. And he was like, yeah. And
What's the matter to you? Right?
And I was
What's
like,
that got to do with you?
I'm not okay with this because like it's gonna change things between us and CCK, and I don't want to lose CCK.
CCK is our youth group. The youth group I started at M.E.A.T helped me a lot with. Go ahead, honey.
Yeah, because it meant a lot to me, and I was sharing with Garrett how much it meant to me, that I didn't want to jeopardize things, and I didn't want things to change. And Garrett assured me. Do you remember anything you said?
I said, you don't have to date me. It's fine. Like I said, so to answer Robin's question, I never planned on dating her because I said, if you don't want to date me, I'm okay. And I didn't plan on dating her because I believe I wanted to wait longer to let her recover her feelings. Like, why would I try to date a girl who's still trying to get over her ex-boyfriend? So I never planned to date her. But go ahead, honey.
So
I said, it's fine. Like, you don't have to. I'm good. I'm fine. I prayed to God. I'm at peace with whatever happens.
yeah, well, he says that, but there were a lot of things happening in the background.
I am at peace. I really was.
Yeah, and he was very calm. He was very nonchalant, and I think at the end of the conversation, I was at peace. That like, okay, he's very respectful. He's not trying to rush me. He's not trying to like mislead me. He's actually trying to be a good friend.
Unlike Robin, who forced Hadassah to marry him. That was very inappropriate, Robin.
Oh my goodness.
You said, you got 1 month. And by the time I leave Hong Kong, I need an answer. I'm kidding.
Whoa. It sounds like another podcast.
Go ahead, honey. Yes, go ahead.
Anyway, so like, he was like, I don't want to pressure you. I don't want you to like feel pressured in any way. I'm sorry if you felt that way, because I was telling him about how his friends made me feel pressured, and I think you said you would talk to them, and I just was really at peace at the end of that conversation, and we just like continued shopping at Lotte, and
so we kind of just said we
did not say.
We kind of unofficially just accepted
no,
it.
we did not. Well, okay.
Was that unofficial? That sounds like official.
It kind of. I guess I never like said like, you know, it just kind of organically happened. I guess.
Wait, what? That never happens. Or did it?
I don't even know how it happened. Okay.
So I
Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. All right. So what you're saying is, at this very juncture at Lotte,
I don't think it was.
You both decided that you were gonna date, but never said it.
I think so. Because I remember in Lotte, okay, I can't remember all the exact details of the conversation, but I remember holding her hand at Lotte.
No, you did not hold my hand, bro. I would not have let you hold my hand, bro.
I remember holding her hand and her resisting, and kind of just going, okay, well, I guess this is what's going to happen. So, I think
not hold my hand, bro.
Okay.
Well, I guess it's fine. Maybe
Wait a minute. So you confronted him, and then he just said okay,
and then I think I won her over with my sense of peace.
And I felt a great sense of peace. And I can't remember, was it before or was it after that I went to Daniel's house? The retreat.
I don't remember Daniel's house.
Daniel had asked me to come over and help him with his Chinese homework.
I know that was before. And you said to him, I'm going to go marry Garrett. For whatever reason. I don't know why you said that.
I think I knew in my mind that you were the better one for me. And so I remember him asking me to come over to help him with his Chinese homework. And he said, what if I want to get back together with you? And I loved him in that moment. I mean, not saying that I fell in love with him at that moment. Not that what he said made me love him. In that moment, I still very much loved him. And it hurt me and it broke my heart to say it. But I looked him in the face and I was like, I'm going to get over you and I'm going to marry Garrett.
Booyah.
It did not feel that like a booyah to me.
No, in my head. That's how I meant it.
You didn't know that until I told you that.
No. But I like to romanticize it for my own self-esteem.
Wait, but there was a moment. I remember you had a conversation with me. You told me that you would never date me until Daniel gave his blessing. When did that happen?
And it did happen.
But when?
October. And we dated November 2nd. He actually, I didn't want to talk too much about myself, but basically I went to Daniel's house and we hung out and we ate dinner, and he said, you know, Garrett, you should date me. That's what he told me. I said, okay. Bet.
That must have been after I told him I was going to marry you.
So that was October. So anyways, I'm not here to talk about my own story, but I want to hear May's.
Yeah.
So
Well, that kind of runs parallel.
yeah. So anyway, so we end up even though we kind of disagree on what we can't remember exactly the same thing, we kind of at that point unofficially or officially just accepted it. And I think one of the big things that surprised me was that I was so at peace. She thought maybe you were expecting something different from me.
Yeah.
I guess I was James Bond for a little bit, a little smooth. No, okay, never mind. My wife's shaking her head. I was just an idiot as usual. I guess.
No, I just felt like his peace gave me peace, and his respect for me, and him not wanting to rush me and stuff like that. Like, I think even in that moment at Lotte when we had that conversation, he knew that I still had like these ties, these feelings and stuff, and it was gonna take time for me to.
So it was an unspoken relationship.
It was interesting, right?
And how did it transform to like the first date?
We always see each other, so it's okay.
We always saw each other.
We hung out.
Well, yeah, but that's a little different though. To like, you know.
Bro, man, the hormones took over.
Well, no, the thing is
Just
like
jumping on each other.
no,
Hey, sticks-
no.
I mean, like, I know it didn't happen. I'm just joking, but
You know, Robin,
Lock the door.
I didn't willingly kiss this man until a year and a half after we dated.
That's not okay. Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Man,
sure,
boy,
sure,
boy.
sure.
You know, I told you it was my dry breath, Hadassah. Look at how hotel.
No, I mean like I didn't even want him to really hold my hand.
I know.
this is like a whole new journey.
Don't worry, we're not going to get into. So hey,
I want to say this: we spoke an entire hour when we just got you together. And
Yeah,
you barely
so-
got together.
that was November 2nd. The beginning of the story was summer 2003, and we started dating November 2nd, 2006. So that was about, even though I'm slightly drunk, 3.5 years. So yeah, we'll end it. You know, Hadassah, Robin, do you have any questions, or what do you think? What's your
I think you need another podcast to
Go on.
finish your story.
No, I'm not going to talk about my story. You can always come back later. But how about you, Hadassah? Anything you want to share or ask?
It's like dramatic.
She said it's dramatic.
Yeah.
I know. That's why I took the alcohol to keep the edge off.
But I know that God guide both of you together. Because for the message that I think the retreat is quietly
Ordained. God's
it's
plan.
a turning point that that God's doing something to change your relationship with me.
How about you, Robin? What do you think? You heard? I guess you haven't heard all the sides, and now you heard it.
I've never heard all of it. That retreat thing was a bit interesting.
Yeah. Because
Actually,
So
the topic
one
of the
thing
retreat
we didn't say was the guy name was Alex. So afterwards he goes, Garrett, you okay, man? I said, hell yeah, man. He goes, what? What do you mean you okay? I was like, yeah, man, we're dating. He goes, what? So are you kidding me? He's like, yeah. I was like, yeah, it's all good. He goes, man, I thought you guys were going to date, and I was telling me that you know, like she was like, yeah, I don't have to date him, and I told her, yeah, you don't have to, and I was like, guess not. So that
We never said we're dating.
Incredible.
but it was not. Alex was shocked because her conversation with him was totally different than what happened. So the point is that retreat was kind of a game changer,
The message.
pivotal or turning point.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always a pivotal moment in every relationship.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it just kind of blended itself, and next thing you know, you're married.
And my no, it wasn't that
No.
simple. But
Why?
but the answer is, for me, the reason why I was able to be so calm was honestly, and it sounds cheesy, was because I devoted so much of my time to prayer. I said, God, I'm just going to trust you.
Oh, you guys want to know what's funny? What's funny is Garrett would go to morning prayer with me, and I would pray
That was twice.
for Daniel, and I would pray for Garrett, and I would pray for his future spouse.
That's so silly. You just pray for yourself.
I would pray to God, give Garrett a patient wife,
Let's
a
keep-
godly wife,
Okay, honey,
a wife who like loves you, Lord.
Keep praying for that, honey. Keep praying.
A wife who like is into your word, who's got compassion, who loves children.
You do, yeah. So there's a lot of
It's like,
twists
I
and
don't
turns.
know who can marry Garrett, Lord, but you know who's going to marry him, because I can't think of anyone who will marry him.
Yeah. The point is that it's really hard to be with me, so I think the point is that wasn't communicated. The point is it's hard to be with me. So yes. Anything else, honey, you want to share before we wrap it up?
No, it's your podcast.
Well, um, needless to say, it was a little bit of a roller coaster, and honey, doesn't just because we started dating doesn't mean everything was always easy afterwards. But I think the moral story is, at least for me, to trust in God, try to have integrity, and even though we're all flawed, and I think my wife, that we have this great story so that when times get hard, we can look back on something that hopefully give us a little bit of encouragement. So, honey, thank you for some of the good memories, and I love you, and we'll end at that, honey. Okay. All right. All right. All right, guys. The end.